Okay, let's go. We got a video for a BLON set, the BLON BL032. This is their own personal approved update. Whereas there have been a lot of sets that have come out after that, and people have said, including myself, like this is the follow-up or the true successor to the BLON 03. They never said that. They didn't number it as an 03. This is the 032. Now, is that just, to attract attention because associating yourself with one of the most famous sets in the hobby is a good tactical move? That is a good tactical move, so it could be that. But I'm going to give a review and give some specifics and say, I think I understand why they finally put the 03 on another set and are connecting it and saying it's a genetic relative, because it really is in a lot of ways, with the extended QDC that made it a little, if it did get in your ear comfortable, that might have made it feel a little less long-term comfort. They dealt with that. It's got a standard 2-pin. It's much easier to roll your cables. And the tuning is maybe addressing some people's complaints about it being kind of slightly veiled because of the mid bass and it's being a single DD, and they did that by the tuning. So I think there was some thought into this. That's my personal opinion. I haven't spoken with them. I never actually did speak with BLON. Even when I did a collaboration with them, I spoke through Linsel, so I don't have any connection with BLON. I hyped the hell out of them back in the day, but I still don't know anybody that works for that company. Not a single person that I remember. I don't remember speaking from my name is I'm from BLON. Never happened. That's the frequency response graph. The green is the original. The second version is the yellow. In the low end, they're essentially the same. The second version's got just a little bit less bass. It's got a little less in the ear gain. It's a little more subtle, and it's got a little more energy in the upper mids, like 3 to 5, 6K, actually out to 8, and then it's got more extension. So it's got a little more energy right there for certain things and the harmonics of certain instruments. And it is on Linsel for $30. You can get it in 3.5 and black or silver for $31. You can get it in 4.4 for $32, so plus $1, or Type C for $33. So that's actually not bad. You're really moving from $1 to go from 3.5 to 4.4, which goes to show how little difference there really is in this whole thing. People have been talking about cables recently and 4.4s and whether they're better, and they should be essentially priced the same except for that little larger size termination, and this is $1 difference. And then for the USB-C, it's $2. I'm not sure why. It's not a big difference. So let's go ahead and talk about music. Let me get back on the screen. One Led Zeppelin. In the low end, 808 Big Boy Kill Jill, or 808 type drops, or synthetic deck mix drops that would be on stuff everywhere from Big Boy Kill Jill to Kendrick Lamar, Hey Now, Wu-Tang Clan, Ghetto Boys. A lot of that music and those big drops that you have are coming from basically a deck. There's not somebody out there with an instrument like a bass guitar making those sounds. Those are synthesized drops. This does that well, though I wouldn't label this really anything close to a bass head set. I didn't think the original was a bass head either. I think these do the same. This set cleans up a little bit beyond the bass, but in the bass, I think it's doing that fine. It's fine for the hip-hop portion of your library. I'm on Led Zeppelin right now, but if I slide slightly over and move past Kiss, I'm on Kendrick Lamar, and this set's doing his library just fine. As we get into 4 and 5 string bass guitars, the pulls, the plucks, the ringings, the releases of the string, I thought it sounded great. I have a purple set of 03s, and I thought listening back and forth, maybe placebo and new item bias, but I thought it sounded cleaner. If I were to try to graph sniff, I would say that maybe the upper mids being slightly boosted is giving a little bit more energy to the overall final overtones and harmonics to the strings on that instrument, making it sound maybe a little clearer to my ears. But that, again, could be graph sniffing, but it does sound like that. It sounds like it's playing back that instrument a little bit better. As we move into the kick drum, we get to where I was, which is Led Zeppelin's fourth album, a track called When the Levee Breaks, which is Bonham's iconic intro. Dun, 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 dun. It's supposed to sound really powerful. On this set, it does. Again, it's not a bass set, but that's just a production and high fidelity, faithful reproduction to what the original was. And people talk about how do you know what the artist wanted? I know how it was reviewed because growing up, and all of the old Parade magazines, everybody, they're all talking about how that was just, how Bonham just smashed his way into the intro of that track. There's harmonicas and all kinds of other stuff, but everybody talks about the intro. There's people that teach it on the internet. There's people that talk about the story of how it was developed, how it was recorded, which famous band, the Who, the Stones, lent them some equipment, where it was, Hadley Grange or another place. So it's like a myth in the music world because it's such an iconic moment. This set plays that back the way I expect it should sound, like emphatic, and it does. So synthetic drops, 4 and 5-string bass guitars, Bonham's kick drum. There was no problem. There was no moment of like, let me listen to that again. That I'm not sure about that. There was nothing there. As we get into the mids, which for this listener, because of the mid bass and the upper mids, really does impact tremendously. Vocals, and my library, aside from Verdi, Vivaldi, and Tchaikovsky, has all vocals inside it. Mostly male, but male and female, a lot of duets. I thought that this sounded good. The more forward ear gain of the BLON 03 should make vocals maybe pop or seem a little more forward or slightly more present, when I actually have the opposite impression that the newer 03 actually, and that's graph sniffing now, lined up at 500, maybe it's the upper mids being a little more, or it's the driver quality. I don't really know. It's also, they're talking about the driver being tubed to the nozzle as opposed to just opened behind the nozzle. I haven't opened it, so I can't speak to that. But I think vocals sound cleaner on this than the original. I didn't have a problem, and I love that. It's very musical, very engaging. This keeps that, but it cleans it up just a little bit, which is really what the 03 new version should have been, and I think they kind of nailed that. So I think vocals, Chris Cornell, Lane Staley, and Nina doing the cover of Blondie, they all sound good. The female vocals that I listened to, I thought sounded fine. There wasn't any degradation because of the husking or the heating up of their vocals because of mid-bass boost and bloom into the mids. I thought it sounded fine. It's not the same as the tucked-in sets that have the flat board, but I find those to sound kind of thin, personally, and I would prefer something like this. As we move into what is essentially harmonics and overtones, which is the residual effects of a stick striking a cymbal, whether it's a ride or crash, fingers plucking and pulling off of a guitar, electric or acoustic with or without distortion pedals, keyboards, and again vocals like off of ELO's Greatest Hits, although all those things can really be emphasized kind of too much or sound like they're existing too long because of late boost that really doesn't exist. Things decay over time, and if you take the last audible parts of it and boost it up, it might sound different than what you normally hear in a car or home or regular audio system. I think that this plays back all of that well. I didn't have any issues with it. There wasn't any point. Let me get to the rankings now. Is it a dumpster fire? No. It's a $30 set. Hope it was free. For somebody that comments below this video, I'm going to put a nice 4.4 cable and actually send it because this is a good set. And $30 is actually still a good little bit of cash for a lot of people around the world. I think we sometimes confuse like $30 is no big deal. It kind of is for a lot of people. And there's a lot of students and actually high school people that watch videos. So this will be sent out to somebody. You just got to be a subscriber to both my channels, and I would announce it in the community section. Coping is working. No, not at all. I thought I might be being too sweet to the set as I finish up now and listen as I've just spoken. But I'm enjoying the hobby. Not sorry. Competes with its peers at $30. Yeah, we're still not at some weird place where $30 gets you some incredible stuff. You can get really good tuning with some good drivers, but this is still competitive. I'd buy it. I would actually, now that I've heard it. I don't think I would have if I just heard BLON has another and they're calling it the 03 too. I probably would have. I don't need it really, except for content, and it was sent to me for free. But I would buy it now that I've heard it. Going to shamelessly hype it. Possibly if I start to do, best $30 or below or $50 below, this would be a set that I would talk about. My advice to you would be, I would suggest purchasing it because there's two things here. One is it better than the 03, which you might have in your possession? In my opinion, I think it is. I think it's an improvement on what the original was as far as resolution goes, but with still maintaining the power in the low end. And aside from its genetic relation to the 03, it is a very good, in its own, $30 single dynamic driver set. So I don't think you can lose. You might get a better set slightly, or an improved, or what you would hope the 03 would be, but you're happy with the 03, and this is that set. And if you don't agree with that thesis, I think you'd probably still think it's a good set for $30, so I don't really know how you'd lose. If you don't need to buy new gear, don't buy it. But if you're in the market and want something that sounds good for $30, and you got the BLON and are thinking, what is their opinion of their own thing being improved? I think it's worth the investment to check it out. That's it. Very, very nice. I'm glad this turned out well, and I'm glad that they... I gotta take some ownership here. There were a couple BLONs that came out after the 03, and I was hyping them as the successor to the 03. That was my interpretation, but it was never theirs. Like I said, I really don't have a close relationship with this company. I literally don't know anybody. And if I ever spoke to anybody, it was years ago, but I don't think so. I do know some people that are close and communicate with the company, but I don't know anybody in BLON itself. And a lot of people who know I've done 50 videos for BLON might think there's some connection. Actually, none. I speak through Linsel to them, or with them, about them, with collabs and everything. There's no direct stuff with them ever. So good job. I think they did well. This is their opinion of a polished 03 and calling it a 2, which I think was good instead of calling it a Pro or a Max or something like that. So, and the cable, you can get it 4.4 or USB-C. It's all dressed up nice as a updated, modernized version. So that's it. I'm out. Good job, BLON. I hope everybody in that company has a happy holidays. I hope everybody watched this video has happy holidays. I'll probably be back with another 1 or 2 videos before we get into the New Year's vacation. So I'll go ahead and let you guys go, and I am out.